everybody. Welcome to Justice Served Daily. And now I feel like double daily, right? Because we keep doing these lives of information coming out. So, yeah, this stuff is crazy. It's crazy. Miss Page is on here right now with me. Hello, Miss Page.
Hello again, guys.
And this is really, truly going to be our reaction to everything, because this morning I was sitting there letting them know what was going on and what was happening, and then all of a sudden the delay, and then a more delay, and then another delay, and then I'm going to say it. Then the words were, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." That's it. I can't say it any other way. Right. I just dropped a link in here for the show to come up on panel. Also for reaction and stuff for what's going on and what's happening. And I'm going to share a theory that I've come up with as well. Paige, what's like your first reaction to this stuff?
I just didn't even know that, this could happen today. It didn't even cross my mind that this was going to be a possibility. So, and, the fact stated that he apparently hasn't seen all the evidence against him. And I'm just like, since when?
Right.
Yeah, baffling.
Well, and what's interesting, after I thought about it for a minute, it did make me kind of have a theory about what could be going on, right?
Yeah, do tell.
So first, I got to let you guys see the slideshow from this. And hey, Paige, will you keep an eye on in StreamYard for me in case anybody joins us to pop up, because I'll have to leave this screen to go in there and get them. So if you can watch that
No
for
problem.
me, I appreciate it. So first of all, here's what he looks like now, right? Lost more hair, gained more weight. I never knew you could get fatter in prison, right?
He must really like the food.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's freaking crazy. I just, so here's the disclaimer, blah 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 blah. So at first, the information that's in there is that his attorneys are back in with the judge, and that there's discussion going on. So it's not starting right at 9 o'clock, right? It's not starting at 9. And courts are pretty good about that. And it wasn't really expected to be a short trial, because they were, the judge is going to usually goes through like all of the charges of the perpetrator. And that's the reason that even though that in Indiana, it has been now allowed that based on the judge's decision, whether cameras can now be in the courtroom. I'm interested about that for when the full DELPHI case comes up, right? But that happened, and then people, were like, oh wow, this is going to allow cameras in the courtroom. Well, one, obviously it's judged because of what he's going to say, and then you have to look at what the trial is about. And the trial is about CSAM, and you are talking about victims. And the information that's going out is quite disturbing. There was, because he was pleading guilty, supposedly at the time, allegedly, right? That we now have to share. He, wasn't going to have like impact statements or something like that in there, but they can read out loud, all of the charges, everything that's going on. And then after they go through that, then they're going to go back and forth because we already know that they were not in agreement whether this was going to be concurrent or consecutive. We knew that argument was happening during the last hearing when he changed his plea to guilty. So that started. Remember, the big thing that everybody was shocked about, and remember the timeline of all of this, when this is all going out, we find out that a witness list is released. And this is the first time that all the witnesses and everybody that is going to be called by the prosecutor is shared with everybody. And, then after this witness list is seen, everything's going on, they go to trial. Suddenly, guess what? He's going to change his plea to guilty. And, and the thought process is that the prosecutors came out and go, well, hey, there's no plea deal. You may be pleading guilty now, but there is no plea deal. And that's interesting because it does give the impression that some type of plea deal was offered. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, why would they think that he even would misunderstand there's a plea deal unless a plea deal was offered? Okay. So why would they do that? What would the reasons be? Now, remember, we did have, out of the 30 charges, 5 charges had been dropped from the CSAM, with the prosecutor saying they didn't have enough evidence. Remember that in this evidence, there is other charges that were not made because they could not determine the ages of the girls.
Yeah.
So there were, or identify the girls for that matter. So I do want to point out to everybody that please remember that these charges that he is facing, and they're only charges based on in Peru, right, in the county for all of the CSAM 2015, 16 on the devices that he had found, excuse me, that are girls that are in Indiana. Now, why am I bringing up that point? Because just because he has these charges here and he has the possibility of pleading and whatever, which I'll get into what my theory is why this all changed, is because federal charges can be coming down. And this is why I point that out. Remember that in the probable cause affidavit, which we went through, the police officers mentioned to him as they're going through the evidence, they talk about where he and another individual are clearly sharing an image of abuse of a 3-year-old. This is transferred information between him and this other person. Okay, so where's this other person, guys? And where's the abuse factor of this 3-year-old at?
Yeah.
When you have CSAM cases, and you guys know I follow this all over the place, and I'm working on actually 2 videos at the same time because there are so much CSAM, and I'm going to talk about a whole nother operation that just got busted, a whole nother operation. But the federal charges can still happen. Federal charges happen when you have images of girls that are across state lines, when you share images with other people across state lines, And you are getting images of people from across state lines. The reason that I bring this up is because let me point out another fact here. If you listen to the murder sheet and listen to them speak to the girlfriend that Keegan had in 2019 and 2020, she shared some very good information. I encourage you to go listen to that podcast and listen to that interview. The reason why is because she shares with them that Keegan Klein first started talking to her when she was only 16 years old. And it was back 2 years prior when he was talking to Libby,
In
right?
2017. Yeah.
Right. So this girl said that they lost contact. And when they lost contact with each other for a little period of time, he made recontact with her. And at that time, she was 18. Well, guess why he lost contact with her in 2017, everybody? Because his house was raided for CSAM.
Mm-hmm.
We have the raid that happens with the FBI going there February of 2017. So this is when the Anthony Shots profile is speaking to Libby. We know it. We have proof of it. They've
Factual
confirmed
proof.
it. The
Mm-hmm.
police have said it. The media has brought it out as well, that Libby was speaking to an Anthony Shots profile, whoever was using it. But we know the creator of the Anthony Shots profile was Keegan Klein.
Yep.
They have proof of it.
He admitted it.
And we know that they say now, today in the news, they mention of him using the words, the catfishing account that he was using talking to girls that were underage for 1 year prior to him getting caught. Remember, he had been talking to girls way before this. He did not decide to create the Anthony Shots account until July of 2017.
16.
I'm sorry, 2016.
Yeah.
So here he has this info. Here he has all of this stuff going on. And why does he suddenly create this when everybody else has shared that Keegan Klein's account has been talking to him? Why would he suddenly now have this Anthony Shots account and create all of this? What would be the purpose? So sorry about that.
Nobody's talking to him as who he is.
Right. So now he needs this other type of profile. So there's a lot of charges and there's a lot of stuff. So when the girlfriend admits that she believes she was groomed by Keegan Klein, her words, not mine. When we do an update of some of this, I'll play all of that stuff for you as well. But she admits it. She believes she was groomed. She believed then he contacts her in 2019 when she is 18. Okay, that makes her 16 in 2017. When he's communicating, when she believes she's being groomed, when all this stuff is happening. So 2019, she moves in with Keegan Klein. Keegan Klein is living with her when he gets arrested in August of 2020. So before this all goes down, guys, you got to remember, he got caught with and admitted to and gave every single electronic device that he owned prior to this 2017 incident, right? He gave every damn phone except that one. All the phones except the one that was, talking
Hidden in the microwave.
2017. He's sitting here hiding. The current phone he's hiding.
Yeah.
But he gives all the devices to him. He admits he's the one who has the Snapchat and Instagram account. He turns around and hands those devices. He says, yes, this is all me. And we wait 3 damn years. I'm sorry, there's going to be cussing in this one. I'm just going to let you all know because this shit pisses me off. Right? It really does.
Yeah.
We wait 3 years for no good explanation that he is out on jail. He's even shocked. He's even shocked when they finally arrest him in August in 2020. He says to them, I don't know why, why now? It's 3 years later. He's thinking everything's good. Do you know how we know he thinks everything's good? Because his girlfriend who is interviewed states that when she was dating him and then they move in together and they're living together, 2019, 2020, she sees on his phone, he has an Xbox, he has his cell phone, which he's very much protective of. He doesn't want her near it. And then another device.
A PC. Yeah.
Yes, an old laptop, right? So here he has all of this. And she one day goes to the phone. And what does she see on his phone, guys? She sees Dropbox. She opens his Dropbox account and she sees an old picture of her friend. Nude photos in this Dropbox. He freaks out that she opened it and says that, oh, she messed up work stuff or whatever for him. The only time he's working, she also comments, is that he's working at a pig farm. Now, I don't know why, but that stuff, just him working at a pig farm, freaks me out anyway. But so here's my question for everybody. This is what pondered in my head. Why did we not see new charges against Keegan Klein for images on his phone again that he had in 2019 and 2020 for underage girls on his phone in a Dropbox account? He didn't have time to delete anything this time, guys. Whatever he had in that Dropbox account, they took. So, here you know why he didn't stop? He thought, I got away with it. They picked me up 2017. They asked me some questions. I'm sure his biggest worry was, oh, maybe the whole DELPHI case, right? Of what is happening and stuff with it. So, here we're looking. He admits to the charges he has in 2017. He has hundreds and hundreds of the level of that. February 25th, 2017. Now we know from his girlfriend's mouth, after she found out all of this shit, after he gets arrested, after they interview her and tell her what was all going on and what he was caught with. He told her when the police came to his house in February 25th of 2017 that it was for weed.
And guess where he hid the weed too?
Right.
The microwave.
Yes, and that's what he told her. He said, I hid my weed in the microwave. And I always have to remember, in case people don't know this, he went back to his house because he told the police he could not find a phone, right? And that police leave instead of making him continue to look for this additional phone, which I'm going to tell you right now, I have no doubt in my mind, 100%, that phone was not found and he did not provide it because it had even more damning information and evidence in it. And you know what? That's pretty bad to say, considering that you have to look. Sorry, I don't know why my screen wants to change by itself. Considering that you have to look at how horrific the charges are he has. Right? So he's hidden his phone. Where did he call the police? 2 days later, he turns in the phone after he deletes the stuff. They literally can tell when he deleted all of the stuff on the phone because he didn't do a phone reset, which would have erased when he did everything, right? He just deleted apps off, took stuff off, tried to go back in one, logged back into an app, probably realized that even if you delete the app off your phone and then pull an app back on your phone, your shit from that app is still in there. So then he had to go back, delete that app, and make sure he deleted the shit out of it. Where did he say the phone was that he found? In the microwave. A microwave. And this is with him communicating, with and during the time that they're looking for. Because remember, the original reason that they went on February 25th, 2017 is because a girl there also not far away also shared her address with the person she thought was Anthony Schatz. And please, guys, remember, these kids aren't thinking they're communicating with a guy. They think, why does it want to keep changing my screen? They think they're communicating with a cute teenage boy, right? They think a cute teenage boy likes them. He's communicating with them. He wants to see them, meet up with them, come by, visit them, hang out, right? Teenage girl stuff, right? Okay, and I don't know if there's any guys out there right now, but come on, girls. We know if you're a teenage girl, you had a really cute boys talking to you. You would try to, oh, maybe we could meet at the mall, or, maybe we can meet over here or whatever, right? So they go there because this girl shares her address with an Anthony Schatz profile. She comes home from school. There's a guy outside her window, her bedroom window, with a mask on, waiting. They called the police. So the police get a report that is turned in to NetMech. The report from NetMech is that somebody on Snapchat and Instagram is trying to get images for girls to send images, particularly this girl, to send images to them, that a man is trying to do this. It's tracked down. It's tracked down by the apps. There was a warrant served to find out who it was. Then they gave an IP address. The IP address then gave it was a Comcast account. Then a warrant was served to Comcast to find out who owned this IP address. And that is what got them to the Klein's home. Police come, knock on the door. Hey, we're looking for somebody here.
Oh, lost you. Hello? JSD? Uh-oh. Seems to have frozen. Hold on, guys. She's probably trying to come back in. Something like this always happens. Huh? A video doesn't work. 1 second, guys. Be right back.
So sorry about that, guys. There we go. Sorry,
There we
Paige.
go. No, that's
Yeah.
fine. Didn't know what was going
I was
on
like,
for a
what
second.
the heck? I was like, man, and I was on a roll for a minute there too. I'm just saying. I was like, what
By
the
the way,
heck?
guys, I can see all your comments, and thank you very much. You're all so cute.
Are they talking about your voice? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, they're being sweet. Aw.
Okay. So where was I? Oh, I was talking about the stuff that they had, the pause that we waited, the 2020. So they go, we wait all this period of time, and it's like now you have more evidence. You have more evidence that this guy had more nudes in 2019 and 2010. Sorry, it's going to make noises as I reset up this stuff. And I don't know what it did, by the way. All of a sudden, I looked over because I watch it on the side, and I look over, and all I saw was was you up there. I'm like, holy crap! I'm not even up there anymore.
Yeah, thanks for the warning.
I'm sorry. Hey, it didn't even give me a warning. It didn't even try to wait for me at all. I'm just like, what the hell? Sorry about that, guys. Didn't mean for that one. So how does he not have more charges? What is going on, right?
Yeah.
So here now I'm I'm going to go and jump into my theory and stuff here.
It's about to get interesting.
So here is one of my theories. So we also found out that Tony Klein has not spoken to his son ever since they called him to the witness stand, that they called him to be a witness. Okay. They did not. And that's interesting. So he's not talking to him. He's not whatever. Is daddy pissed? I'm dropping the link again, by the way, if anybody wants to sound off about this bullshit as well, by the way. So Keegan Klein was probably shocked at the witness list. And part of that from the witness list, and I'll bring that up. Only nothing screws up on that one. It shouldn't. It's only goddamn PDF. But who knows? This StreamYard's been acting weird. Oh, by the way, everybody, I did not have a strike the other day. I didn't have, now I'm, I don't know how you normally get strikes, but there was nothing. I don't even know what happened. So I just want to let you guys know that, because I didn't have anything. I'm gonna move that up here. And so, all right. So one, we knew that, I'm going to go in this. Oh no, I'm not. What? That's not me. That's not my shit. Okay. I'm also using somebody else's computer. So that's another reason. Oh, is that it? Yes, it is. There we go. Okay. So here we have the witness list. Okay. So the witness list is coming out right before trial. That way, Keegan Klein and his people know. Make sure, Paige, to let me know if anybody comes up on the bottom of the screen, so I can pop that up. Okay. So all of us are paying attention to who's on the list. Lots of stuff we're not surprised. You're going to have internet crime. You're going to have NetMech there. These are all the people who are going to tell you the horrific lifetime effect this shit has on kids. I don't care what anybody tells you, because it's not just that these images are being shared, people. We call it child sexual abuse material for a reason. That's why they don't call it child pornography, because some people sit here and think that the term pornography isn't a bad word, and it isn't a type of form of entertainment and something for you to watch. That's why they call it child sexual abuse material. These are videos of children whose lives will not be the same. Will not be the same. And these images are out there with these perverts forever. They can't get those back. Somebody gets them, they download them, they keep them in their collection, and they're damn there forever. So I don't have any empathy for somebody who looks at this shit, who shares the shit, and by God, any reason of any thought period of somebody who frickin' produces the shit, which is, by the way, there is a psychologist, he has a doctorate in computer science. He is a gentleman that I just found information on and studies that he does working with NetMech. And out of a university, works for the Department of Justice, and he follows peer-to-peer sharing for CSAM materials, the demographics of a person who does that, the age of the person, the education level of the person, that the age and education and stuff of this person also talks about the severity of the materials that are shared, and the severity also based on age. There's a lot that we keep hearing about that are infants and toddlers, and those are in the same level group of people who want sadistic type of imagery, which is a whether they want to see some kind of torture or something in there, or they want it to be so severe that they want younger and younger victims. I know that is very sick shit to hear. It makes me sick to my stomach when I read some of this shit that little kids are going through. And remember, Keegan Klein didn't just have teenage girls, whether it was for him or not. He was sharing back and forth with somebody of a 3-year-old child. Don't forget that.
I know people seem to
Nobody
forget
forget
that.
it. So my theory came to this. His dad is no longer talking to him and communicating with him. He is no longer reaching out to him. He is no longer sending money to him ever since he got put on this witness list. So Tony gets to learn in all this shit that his father, that his father's going to learn all these details. So after this, what happens? We know Keegan comes out and is like, I'm not going to go to court. I'm just going to plead guilty. I don't, he doesn't want to mess with this anymore, whatever. That trial, like we just said, it is them arguing between prosecution and defense, whether it is going to be consecutive or concurrent, right? For those who don't know, it's either whether you serve, like if I get 5 years for one thing and I get 5 years for another crime, I can sit here and either serve the 5 years altogether. So I serve only a total of 5 years because I'm serving them together, right? All together at once. Versus I got the first 5 years and I got the second 5 years. Well, why does he not want that? Because guess what? Guess what the max is that he can get? 145 years. He's now realizing he's going to spend life in prison just for this. Prosecution makes sure that he knows just because you're pleading guilty doesn't mean you have a plea deal. That doesn't mean that they're going to sit here and do a break. I'm curious if that meant anything at the time. Okay. We know there's no 2019, 2020 charges. Keegan Klein goes back. He's waiting to see when this all goes down. He knows that now the prosecutor is not trying to be lenient on him whatsoever. They're arguing the fact, but back and forth between consecutive and concurrent. So all of a sudden, Keegan Klein goes in, and what does he say? He says that he's looking at evidence that he didn't realize was in the case. That's his excuse. And one of them is his testimony stating people having him say other connections and stuff to the Anthony shots. Other people who had access to Anthony shots. Other people who had access to his devices. Is Dad upset about that? Was Dad upset that that was in his trial that he was fixing to do? I don't know. Or could it be also that, okay, I'm looking at charges that are on here that aren't mine? Meaning, what if he looks at some charges and he's not the one that was looking at those images or had them? It's somebody else in the house. But he's going to face all of the charges now. And now that he's looking at, oh my God, I'm going to spend my whole life in prison. Could he sit here and be like, okay, well, Dad's not going to help me out. Nothing's going to go on here. What if he's also not willing to take charges of images that somebody else looked at, that somebody else using Anthony shots was looking at? Because I don't know. That could be a possibility of, you know what? I'm not going to go down for all of this stuff if I didn't look at all of it.
Yeah, it might make him want to open his mouth about other things.
Exactly. because the plea deal is going to, a possible plea deal is only if you give something up. And he clearly at the beginning was saying that he basically said another person. So now he knows who would sit here and have this materials. Now he knows who all the charges he's going to face. And if daddy's no longer giving you money and daddy's no longer helping you out, and he was going to go testify against you, then, let me make sure nobody's up here and stuff. I put the link earlier. Let me check. I think I still have it up here. If anybody wants to join us up here. There we go. To gripe about this crap. So here's all of it: child solicitation, possession of child pornography, child exploitation, all of these based on different age. We know what sent them for the search warrant at the beginning. We know when they went out. I hate that little bar of sharing stays on there. I don't know why it has to. I hate it. Make sure it goes through. These are the people who interviewed him that we all heard and talked about. These were the people who were supposed to testify against him and their specialization in digital forensics. These are the locations of where the victims were in Indiana. These are very close to where he is. Indianapolis is not that far of a drive. Hammond is not that far of a drive. It's near Chicago. Guess what's in common in here? He has relatives that live in most of those areas. Here's when he's talking about Dirk, his friend. He sat here. He's the one who lived next door to the Klines and then moved to Vegas with him. I'm just going back through. We covered this before of the charges that he was in there, but I'm just using this to kind of look back through and entering the names. These were highlighted of where we saw these names before. This was showing the person who it's on the first time we've seen it was on the Ron Logan document, but this was a person, Nicole Robertson from the FBI based out of Chicago, was coming in to testify. Then obviously his stuff of not only his discussion with the police officers, which would be shocking, honestly, don't you think? I mean, that he's shocked that when he talked to the police, that was in there. Is that what he's worried about that's in the evidence? Right?
I know, right?
It's like, do you not know? Is it with the Barbara McDonald interview? Does he not think while you're in jail, all the shit you say is being recorded? I mean, come on. This is when we talked about, remember, and this was my other theory too. You guys know that I watch all of these apps and stuff that people are using and what's most popular. And let me say this abroad. It doesn't matter what your kid is using. They go to whatever apps they know young teens and preteens are going to be on. And then they try to get them off of those apps. If your kid plays video games online, they love doing that. They go and play video games online with your kids. So don't think that's a safe thing. Don't think it's just other kids playing with other kids, guys, because it's not. Don't think when they go on Instagram and Snapchat that other adults are not on there. Remember, they're pretending they're females or male kids. And they're talking to your kids. And they will take and allow months for them to groom your kids. Then to tell them about keeping secrets from their parents, not telling their parents they're talking on this, not sharing information, right? If they're talking to a kid that they think is cute and they want to communicate and stuff with, and they're flirting and stuff with, you think they're going to tell you that, mom and dad? No. Well, guess what? When that turns scary into, I'm doing this, and then suddenly there's somebody on here who is trying to persuade me to send them images and stuff. They also groom them, by the way. People were like, oh, there was, I don't remember. Did they say, Paige, it was like a Cash App or something? They're trying to accuse and say that maybe Libby was getting money from them in order to send images.
Yeah, well, we do know that in the transcripts where the police did talk to Keegan Klein, they did state that we have a money account going to her from Anthony Shots. So
right. But
I'm not
let me
sure.
so let me put this, and trust me, guys, and I shouldn't even say it that way. You don't have to trust me. Go look yourself, please. I encourage you, if you are not sure about the info or something that anybody ever shares with you when you watch true crime or any of the videos and you're not sure, go check for yourself. I encourage you to, but I definitely encourage you, especially if you are a parent, you need to know about the CSAM and you need to know what is going on, because I read a whole case study of the PhD of computer science who was setting this up. Very interesting. I'm going to do a whole presentation on it. I'm hoping I can even get this gentleman to speak. So I'm just starting the works on that after I read this whole thing that he does to presentation to the Department of Justice and to local police departments. But what they do is, while they're grooming your kids, they sit here and they'll be like, they'll send gifts to them, send them some money, send them something in there, whatever. And so now they've been talking to them. They play video games with them. They go online. They'll sit there and maybe try to get them to Skype with them. They'll try to get them to do all kinds of stuff. But while they're doing that, they will send money to them. It is part of the grooming, because guess what? They're also not grooming your kid just for them. They're grooming it for their group. Their group gets to own that video shot, that image, those pictures, right? They get to have that. And so they get a group of kids, and they try, and they are targeting kids who are suffering from depression, are suffering from anxiety, who have low self-esteem, who are, I read some stuff that was horrific. There was one that went after a site that were for girls who had trouble with anorexia and targeted those kids. They sat here and they will go after anything. And then they move them to apps and sites that they can communicate with them anonymously, that's going to disappear, like the Kick app, right? Like there are so many, and that's the big thing that I'm gathering right now, looking at these studies that are going on. Of it is an everyday common, you believe, safe app, and then they move them to other apps where they can have stuff, and then those are used to create direct dark web websites that you can only have a link to join, peer-to-peer, of these CSAM guys who are sharing these images with each other, their collections. And it is unbelievable. And so, just because Anthony Schatz could have been sending images to, or I'm sorry, not images, but money to the girls. He could have said, hey, I'm going to send this to you. And earlier when we talked about theories too, is we learned also that an additional thing from the Lost documentary that was shared. Oh my God, I'm going blank. Fig Solves. It was there. I knew it would pop out. From Fig Solves, that one of the discussions and interviews she has was with a friend of Libby's. And he shares with them that a while before this happened to the girls, that somebody was bothering her. And he was saying that he thought it was this 19-year-old. And at the time that she was trying to communicate to get help with it, he was occupied playing video games, really didn't pay attention, later communicates back to Libby, and Libby's like, hey, don't worry about it. I got this taken care of. Okay, well, that's interesting because Anthony Schatz was saying he was 19 years old. Right? So if we have that she's trying to get rid of this info, and then we also know from the families that a week prior, Libby asked about having her phone reset.
Yeah.
And her mother and her aunt were like, okay, well, if you do this, then you lose everything and stuff that's in there. And I think that they believe that that was a strange request for her to do because, just like any of us, you reset your phone, you suddenly lost everything that's in there. Why would she ask that? Right? Why would she ask for her phone to be cleared out? Now, there's two theories and reasons that I have for that. One, if a person is going to try to meet up with your child and doesn't want that info found, they will ask your child to clear the phone. They don't want a trace of it, especially before they meet up with your child. So that is a possibility because people who use the CSAM in order to meet with and commit a sexual assault will do that. That's in CSAM stuff. The second one is, what if this profile suddenly was like very much harassing her, trying to persuade her to do something, trying to get images, trying to meet up, trying to do whatever. And she's bugged by earlier on because the kid who was interviewed about it on the Lost documentary says that he doesn't remember the exact time. He thought maybe it was in January that it happened, not quite sure. But if that was earlier, and then she sits there and has a week prior to this that it's deleted off the phone, then is it that she was trying to get rid of it and suddenly you have a person who is using the Anthony Schatz profile who is worried he's going to be called out? He's going to be found out because they're going to go to a parent or someone if it keeps happening, or they're getting scared by it. And now they're worried of, oh crap, they're going to find this out. They're going to see this person communicating. I'm worried they're going to be tracking it towards me. And suddenly the people who created Anthony Schatz worried. That's another possibility there too. You got to remember that Libby and all of these other girls think they're speaking to the Anthony Schatz profile that you see on the right of the screen. They think it's a teenage boy who's 19 years old, who's talking back and forth with them, who says that he likes them, who's talking, who says how pretty you are, says they'll tell them that they love them. They'll say anything that they want to. And remember, Keegan Klein didn't just use Anthony Schott's profile. I know that's the high one that we sit here and do, and that's what he got people. He also used the Emily Ann 45 profile. These are the multiple devices that he had. But when he's with his girlfriend in 2019 and 2020, guess what, guys? He only has one phone, a shitty old laptop, and an Xbox. Here's the phone he didn't turn in till 2 days later. That's the phone that had the evidence on it. That's the phone that could have honestly closed this case quickly, in my opinion. I'm going to slowly just kind of clip through all of this info. Again, I have a video very specific about what apps were used. You know, again, of course, these apps can be used perfectly fine, but some of these apps are used because they delete the material. Kik is famous. Kik has been all over the place. And this also tells the ages of the girls that were found on each device, 12 to 17. Which specific name was used on these? This was Emily 45. It used Kik Messenger and Snapchat. Same things. I'm telling you, that CSAM investigation that Doctor of Computer Science did. Oh my God, it's the reads the same way. This is the phone that there were files located which depicted children between the approximate ages of 3 and 11. Now, when I wrote this out, I didn't write out the very specifics of it. Although I will tell you, if it's sexual assault, I say sexual assault. If it's CSAM, I mean, CSAM even is, I think, a breakdown of saying what it is. But here, again, children 3 to age 11, showing sexual abuse by an adult. Somebody is committing it. But that's the other thing. We think the CSAM's bad. The shit happening in the CSAM. I mean, you know what I mean? You guys, it breaks your heart, especially parents, to realize. There were also still images showing possible drugs and images showing Keegan with a black handgun. Now, remember, at the time, we thought that was interesting because, you know, there was already word out there because people who knew about the audio that the parents had heard, that they heard one of the girls, Abby, we believe, saying that he's got a gun, right? There's a gun.
Yeah.
And hearing a click of a gun. There were files located which depicted children between the approximate ages of 3 and 11 showing sexual assault by an adult. There were also still images showing possible drugs, and this gun was not the gun. May 14th, there was a discussion that involved, this is May 14th of 2016. There was a discussion that involved the use of the iPhone and another party sharing Dropbox. Damn thing. Why is it going on me? Sorry. I don't know why it's changing on its own. Sorry, guys. Public links containing CSAM and media files. The user of the iPhone 4 portrayed themselves as Emily 45. The user had used the Emily Ann identity in 2015 on the Samsung Galaxy S4 device. This is where I'm wondering, where is this other person, guys? Where is this other person, May 14th, 2016? Here he is sharing a Dropbox link. Here he is sharing that the images are of kids 3 to 11 years old. Right? Where's
Yeah.
that other person? We never heard who that other person is.
Yep. Good point.
Where is that other person? And that's why I bring up, we find out that the girlfriend, who was only 18 when they got together, but she was only 16 when they started talking in 2017. She's only 2 years older than Libby. He's talking to her. She's underage. They're talking for a while. And then she's like, oh, and then he stops contacting me. Right. Because he sat here and had the police coming and looking at CSAM at his house. That he tells her no, they only came for weed. That's all they were looking for. That was only weed. He waits till finally she hits 18. She moves in. They move in together in 2019, 2020. They move in together. They're dating. They move in together. She's in the apartment with him when they finally come and bust him and arrest him for CSAM that was found in 2017 that he admitted to, that he handed phones to, and nobody damn looked at it till 2020. Not one person. They did not even look at it. Again, you go through the report, you will see that the officer shows when it finally got assigned to him and somebody dropped the ball. He should have been arrested a long time ago. They go in his house and they talk to his girlfriend and they tell him what he was actually arrested for. They tell him it was found in 2017. She says she feels like that she was actually groomed herself. She tells them she found a Dropbox account on his phone that he was mad about she got into. It had an image of her friend back then in there. There were nude images in there. Where are his charges for 2019 and 2020 and having a Dropbox that has images in it? Where are those charges, everybody? Where are the charges? You can see here, Samsung Galaxy S4. This one, it's having ages 12 to 13 years old appearing. Talks you Keegan Klein, Emily Ann are both being used at this point. Tells you that it's a 2015. Sits here and talks about the multiple media files, CSAM, devices and stuff in here. Now, here's what we do know. He wasn't let go. You know what the hope was? Here was the hope. I was hoping he was let go in 2017 because maybe he was cooperating with the police and he was helping to bring down a bunch of these people, right? And that maybe the cooperation was really going to do something about it. It wasn't. It wasn't doing a damn thing. Because he was shocked. He even asked the police, wow, I wondered what happened because, they had me in 2017. They didn't come and arrest me till three years later. He even asked that. He has the images approximately 12 to 17 years old, posing, nude or partial nude, and performing sexual acts. Again, I didn't write down exactly what stuff was going on. Here, his tablet. Why do you think he has different names for different devices? And then on specific devices, he was using Emily Ann, and other devices, he was using Anthony Schatz. Why do you think the police said it sounded like a different person talking to different people at different times, even including Libby? Now, that they, and all of these, I tell you what age that Keegan was, because at no point in time was he underage. He was not under age 18. And I'm going to tell you, kids better start learning what CSAM is. So if you have a 17-year-old boy and he has images being sent to him and he turns 18, he better not still have those images with him because those are CSAM.
Right.
2016, again, none of these are covering the 2017. Remember, this is all the beginning of it. These tell you all of what he used. Kik, Snapchat, Messenger, Meet Me, Skype, and Snapchat. I am telling you, the report that I saw from this guy has all of these on there and more. He gets them down here. Device initiates conversations on Facebook, Facebook Messenger. They try to become friends with your kids on there. They message them. They start talking to them. And then they suggest the conversation to be moved to Kik or Snapchat. Why? Because the shit's going to be deleted and you won't see it. And they're thinking the police won't see it. The only good news is that a lot of more of some of the social media is being more responsible to turn in when they see something that's going on. This Apple iPod Touch, can you believe the shit that it's an iPod Touch? I had no clue you could even use that to do this kind of crap. May 30th of 2015, he was still 21. He had a PIN code. 4 still images of the female teens had devices containing the location data embedded into the file. The locations of those images were from Hammond and Royal Center, Indiana. He wants to know where they're at. They're not far away. Why do you need to know where these girls live, guys, if you're just getting CSAM images? CSAM's horrible enough, right? Why does he need to know their locations and where they live? So here we go to the iPhone 5C. Turned in to Indiana State Police, not till the 27th. 2 days later, he's 22. He had device used Facebook, Instagram, Meet Me, Snapchat, Twitter to communicate. Much of the data of these applications was deleted from the device. The examination found multiple still images saved to the device that depicted females posing nude, partially nude, and or clothed. The ages of the females were indeterminate. Guess what that means? He's not facing charges of them. When they can't figure out the age or identify the person, there are charges he's not facing for some of the images he has and some of the files that he has. So they show the date, February 27th at 9:48 a.m. The user cleared or deleted Safari web browser history and website data from the device. During the examination, some information was recovered. Do we know how we know about that? Remember, guys, we found out that Keegan Klein went to find where the gas station is located in Delphi. Remember that? They noticed the iPhone 5, February 25th, when it was turned in. They talk about the where he was trying to get it to the police, when he called. He talked about when they, at 9:19 p.m. on these different dates, what he uninstalled and deleted the Snapchat. Then he sits there and uninstalled and delete the Instagram. Then he uninstalled and deleted the Meet Me. He's going through. These are typical apps that are used for CSAM people. Sorry, Miss Page. I know it's late there. I love you for being up here. So here's my other theory that now it come up with when we find about that the girlfriend of Keegan Klein at the time that he got arrested, that he was seeing, living with, the 2019 and 2020. He was talking to her. She was only 16 at the time when Anthony Schatz was talking to Libby. She was underage. All this stuff gets busted. She doesn't hear from him 2017, whatever. Doesn't hear from until basically around 2019. He starts communicating with her again. They get together, they move in, she feels like she's groomed. What does she say? She finds the Dropbox, she finds images. We haven't heard of any new charges against him, right? Let me throw this theory out to you. There is no information out about charges. But here, and I did a whole video on the Yellow app and the dangers of Yellow app and how many predators, not just in this country, in other countries used it. It was being used heavily by predators in other countries even before it got here. April 11th of 2022, one news story across the board in Indiana was going out in the news to say a new app is connected to the Anthony Shots profile. It's the Yellow app, now called Yubu. If you communicated with Anthony Shots using this app, they wanted you to contact the police. That was it. That one day, that came out. And we also heard that the authorities were going to France, where this Yellow app is actually created, to go speak to the creators of this app. Now, I argued and have the info that I talk about where there are different laws in different countries. Apps don't face the same regulations if they're created someplace else and then they're brought in here. The app has had issues and stuff reported all over the place. I investigated about suddenly some reason that this one app that's created, only one app by this one company, is going across the board and was opening up locations within the United States, which one has disappeared since. Please go watch my Yellow app stuff to find out about all of this. How did we suddenly know about the Yellow app in 2022? Yellow app was brought up because Yellow app could immediately track and connect a person's Instagram and Snapchat and got you their locations. And then while you use Yellow app to make friends, it would tell you the close proximity that all of these girls are within where you live. And you could do a search of, I want to talk to somebody within 50 miles of me. I want to talk to somebody within 100 miles of me. I want to talk to anybody across the United States. Or I want to talk to somebody in other countries. You can do it. It would let you do mileage. Why? Because the point of this app is supposed to be for you to go meet up with strangers. And the issues with this app, that it is basically marketed, if you go to the app store and you look at it, it's marketed as a 17 plus. But it was letting kids as young as 13 years old register at the time for Yellow app. And it was letting people as old as 25 register, but there was no age verification. So kids who were even younger than that, who wanted to be on there and suddenly created an app, could lie and say they were 13. And men who are older can lie and say that they were 25 years old. And now suddenly, and without their knowledge, without them knowing, that app connected to their Instagram and Snapchat. And it would let you watch videos of them with their friends. It's a creepy app. We never heard another word about this ever again. Ever again. There's got to be a reason why it says it's connected to Anthony Shots. Did we find, maybe we found out about it because when they collected his phone again. Maybe since he had the Dropbox back on it from in 2019 and 2020, that his girlfriend found out that he has these images of even of her own friend. that they suddenly found this and suddenly are bringing that up in 2022. It's crazy. You got to go watch the video that I do about the yellow app and the investigation I do about the yellow app. And also, you know what? I'll connect this because the international child peddling that was here tracked also inside the state of Indiana. If you go watch that video that I did, that international child petty ring that was here was connected also to a guy who created it out of England. And the links that they used and created out of England, he had 2 of the servers for those in the state of Indiana. And not everybody was caught. And that busted people across the country in multiple locations. It busted the guy in England who created it. So we've had an international ring that was busted in Indiana before. You need to go watch that video if you haven't. And again, there were people who they only knew by screen names who they never got to arrest. These guys got away with it. There were guys who got away with it. Now, let me say this. I'm not naive. We all know what happens. The people who are powerful and have money, they never get caught. They're protected. It's the low-hanging fruit who's going to get busted for all of it, right? It's like your Keegan Kleins and the others who are going to do that. It's never the high and powerful. They're not going to get busted. So this is the my case for Indiana, just showing you everything that happened today, again with Keegan Klein, with them saying, oh, he didn't see information, he wasn't aware about his interview that was being shared. Honestly, we don't know which interview he means. Does he mean the cop interview? Of course it's going to be in there. Why would he think that? Does he mean the interview with the reporter, December of Barbara McDonald of 2021? Because he was talking about him saying other people who had connections to Anthony Shots. Is now that dad's not speaking to him since he showed up on that potential witness list, is he upset with dad and now he's going to turn in dad for charges that he doesn't want to have time to serve for? Or whoever is connected with the Anthony Shots? Although those are the ones looking at his home, right? Those are the devices at his house. So we're going to have a status conference. And I want everybody to go, this is 2023. This is just CSAM charges. And look how long it's been delayed. This guy got busted for it in 2017. We let him run around till 2020. He still had another damn Dropbox when he got busted. And now we're going to go and have a conference hearing June 1st to say, okay, guys, where are we? Have we figured it out? Is he still going to plead guilty or not? Is he going to do it consecutive or concurrent? Or, and then if not, then we're gonna have then a hearing for sentencing is going to be July 27th. If everything's cool on the 20th or on the January 20th, then we're going to go ahead and go July of 2023. More than 6 years later. Oh, let me click out of here. I see you guys. I hope you still see me. I say this hoping you still see me. Hold on. I am dropping the link again. Right here. Anybody who wants to come up and bitch with me about Keegan Klein, this case, or if you guys have questions and stuff. Jinx, I see you have something about that. Do you want to share that with us? And anybody who wants to join, all you do is you click on that link, and it's going to take you into a studio, and you can type your name that you want to see. You can type your name that you use on Gmail and in the conversations. And then you can click on to not share your camera or to share your camera. If you don't share your camera, it'll just show you like a black and white image. Or you can drop in an image if you want to. And then you just go, you can type in your name, click in Enter Studio, and then I will see you at the bottom. I can't see you now. When you go to the bottom, I'm back in here, and I can click to add you up. These CSAM cases break my heart, everybody. And they will never get those images back. They will never. Oh, I see Jinx. Hello, Miss Jinx.
Hello, how are y'all?
Doing well. How are you doing? I'm a
I'm
little
all right.
frustrated, but other than that.
Girl, I know, trust me. I'm not even gonna lie. I set up some cans in the back and went target practicing. I had to blow off some steam. I was hot after today. I was.
I told Paige before I came on, I was like, I should take some damn heart medicine before I go on there because I am so.
Girl, I know.
I just during the whole thing, I was sitting here. Oh my God, I was just swearing up a storm, going, "You've got to be kidding me."
Look, I was modding for rookies, and I was just like, I got so quiet. I couldn't even mod because I was just so mad. I was chewing on freaking barbed wire and spitting out nails.
Oh,
I was hot.
Yeah. 6 years to wait for somebody who admitted that he did it.
I know. It's flabbergasting, and then to have to wait 2 more months because I didn't see some paper.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't say long, but I just wanted to let y'all know that Ruckus has been in contact with Tim Corbett. Now, I don't know if you know who Tim Corbett is, but he has like 30 some odd years in LE. You know what I'm saying? And he's retired, and he works out of Mishawaka here in Indiana, which is, maybe 45 minutes from Delphi.
Yeah.
And that's east of Delphi, by the way, if you didn't know. Anyhow, he's kind of got his toes in the water on the Flora case. And he talked to the DEA, and they said that there is no gag order, that everyone is in play on this case. So, if somebody just needs to come out and just talk, at this point, just go ahead and take your punishment for what you did and just talk. It's about time. I'm so worried that, Delphi is not going to be solved if Flora is not solved. And Flora has been overshadowed by Delphi. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way, but it has been.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So,
and what's the strangest thing about it for people who aren't from Indiana is that there are so many overlapping officials over these cases.
Oh my goodness.
It would blow your mind.
Okay, so
people's mind.
Just take the fire chief of Flora alone. Okay, Adam Randall. Well, then you got his daddy, Dennis. and he's the state guy for the fire marshals, you know,
Right.
or state investigator. And then prior to that, he was the Carroll County sheriff.
Right.
So there's that, you know. And then I can't remember exactly now. Denny's daddy also was, you know, I can't remember what he did, but I know he was some kind of, I think he was law enforcement too. But yeah, you know, it's generations, and there's lots of overlapping, and it's baffling.
Well, and there's also other misconduct that's going on and stuff in there. I mean,
Yeah.
you have you know, money that had been stolen. You've had all kinds of other stuff that was going on with family relations in there. So you have people who are supposed to investigate other people, and yet they're related. So you know, it's like you're not going to get the full information that you need to because of that reason.
No,
And I will
it's
say,
wild.
and I will say, you know, the Flora fire itself, I've always watched, you know, other people who have done that info. I knew initially about the corruption that was going on and them trying to investigate and stuff from the beginning. And then when people started to move conveniently, retire conveniently, or do other stuff, you're like, that's when you know something's going on, because we had that within our own FBI.
Well,
and if
I
you
think
guys don't know about that, in the Indianapolis FBI can tell you stories about that, because all I have to say is, anybody remember the name Nasser from the Olympic Games, of the girls who were all violated by Nasser? Who was the information told to? It was told to our Indianapolis FBI office. What was the biggest scandal from that? Well, one of the guys was actually was interviewing while he was with the FBI, was interviewing to go take a job with the Olympics at the time, the group who was running all of that, they were covering shit for. And then you turn around and you also have that the other guy who should have paid attention to the girls, who that's what they testified about. They were not being paid attention to for saying that this was happening to them. That guy quits. And then the other guy, before they even can possibly do anything about it, he turns around and they let him retire with all his pension and stuff. And then, I will hate to say this to you guys, but he got promoted to look into CSAM on a national level.
Yep. Well, and think about this for a second, okay? You've got two little towns in the same county. The county's population is less than what
Delphi is.
I mean, there's between the two, Flora and Delphi, I want to say there's like 5,000 total people, probably about, and that might be pushing it. You know, they might just barely be making that mark. But in 4 months' time, 6 girls have died.
Yep.
And here we are 6 years later, and not a one of them girls has gotten justice, and it's sad.
And I will tell everybody, if you haven't seen information and stuff on there, it is Flora Week. And I put information out about the website link for that, and how you can go to that to join the movement for the Flora Week. Also, there is merchandise that's there for them also, that it's like a fundraiser and stuff.
Yes, all the shirts that are t-shirts, long sleeves or sweaters, all the fundraising that goes through that is going directly to get the Flora girls actual headstones instead of just plates on the ground.
Yep.
So that's one big thing that they're really pushing the shirts for. So if you guys could, you know, help out with that, that'd be amazing, and we appreciate that. I know that Meow Zedong has a ton of stuff on her page that has Flora. There's also the website flora.org now, which is amazing for information. Coach Kev is a firefighter. He has a wonderful perspective, and you know, he can actually just hear things happening and identify, like when the fire truck gets there, just by the way that the brakes sound, like, and he identifies it and you can hear it yourself. But he's so keen to it from being a fireman, he can just call it out there for you, you know. So he's got a really great live with Ruckus that they go over the dash cam footage. It's fantastic for getting a really good understanding of what the situation, was all about and how it was not handled properly at all. But so Honeybee in the chat, if you guys please go to her page, she's amazing. She's also been doing basically weekly posts on those.
Yes, I have.
She's got the most beautiful video that she's worked so hard on, y'all. So go give her some love. We appreciate it. And I'm sorry, I got to go eat dinner.
No, go ahead. I appreciate you popping up here and
absolutely. Thank you.
I wasn't sure if I was going to do one. I was like, you know what? I can't not. As much as I get and cover for this CSAM, I can't not jump up here about this stuff for him. I just can't.
Yeah, no, I hear you, girl. It was, like I said, today was rough, and having it get pushed back another 2 months is it's travesty.
Yeah, it is. Well, what are you having for dinner? Anything good? You going out to dinner? You making it? What you doing?
We have some grilled teriyaki chicken that I marinated and some baked, they're roasted potatoes and onions that I've got, just some seasoning, rosemaries and stuff. And then also I've got some other grilled veggies, some squash and zucchini, and I think onions in that too. Well, I like onions.
We need to figure out how far away I live from you because I may have to join you for dinner one night.
I know. One of these nights you're going to have to come join me for dinner. That's for sure, girl.
Mexican food, right? I can do one night of Mexican food, and then you can do.
Oh, girl, I make some amazing shredded chicken tacos. You come on.
All right. Well, I make everything from scratch, so I know how to make all the enchilada sauce and all that good stuff. So.
Girl, yeah. I'm all about it then. Come on over. We'll have a good old time. I love to cook. That's all I do. Shit.
Well, thank you, Jinx, for coming up. And I do appreciate you. And
yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate you letting me jump up here and get that little update. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, part of our team and group of mods and stuff like that. And I really appreciate you because you are such a great mod to a lot of people, and you really try to go and spread the love to everybody and get people to sign up in people's chats and on their channels and stuff too to help spread it all around. So
right, exactly. I always try to keep the real people who this is for in the forefront, and that's the girls, and they well deserve their justice. So
yes,
thank you again, and y'all have a good night.
All right, you too, Jinx. Catch up with you later. All right, bye-bye. Yes, Honeybee, I have saw your information and stuff out there, and you're welcome to come up. Again, I dropped the link and stuff in the chat. If you want to come and share anything about the stuff that you're doing also for the Flora fires and stuff. I am not an expert in that. I watch a lot of other of the true crime channels and stuff for that information. And I know there has been some great stuff. I know I just watched Silky Southern Tea just did one that was talking about the suspects and stuff from that. I know Kristen Behind the Crime Door does a lot and stuff from that. I know Cold Truth just did a Flora episode and stuff like that. So, I would love to, really promote for everybody to go and look more into that. I want to make sure when I speak to something that I can speak to it. If I've really looked into it, I wouldn't feel comfortable going deep into something that I don't know. I do know about the corruption stuff. I know about the people who are related and stuff to each other in that community, and heard about that really early on. And then, the stuff with the missing, when the girls, that's what blows my mind. I still remember, just clearly thinking at the beginning that, Abby and Libby were just missing, it wasn't going to turn into anything else. And, it just breaks my heart. But yeah, if you do have, your own channel and stuff, please feel free to drop your link and stuff here. I know how that can be difficult to try to grow your channel. We've been here like 8 months now. And, I feel pretty good. I don't know what your range is supposed to be, but, we had made our 500 mark, which we were very proud of. And I am not somebody who can drop on there daily for, all kinds of reasons. One, just health reasons. I can't sit here and produce a show that quickly because I want to feel like I'm bringing you guys some value when you come to watch. And I want to make sure that I do as much homework on topics and subjects that I can. And so that's what information and stuff that, I want to bring, everything to you guys and, make sure that I do justice for the people that I'm speaking for. So please, there are lots of channels that do a great job. And that's why, I definitely wanted to share the information out for the week of the Flora fires, of these 4 little girls who died in an arson, and it hasn't been solved. And we have the same thing in common of people who are in there in that small town type of, corruption and information that's out there. But this case today, this postponement again today, 6 years later, from a man who admitted to what he did, who handed the devices. Now, I'm not saying he admitted to everything he did. He hid that phone for a reason, everybody. He hid that phone back in 2017 for a reason. His current phone he was using, he hid for a reason. He is not facing charges. If you just joined, he's not facing the charges of that he had a Dropbox with nudes on his phone when he was arrested in 2020. Why? Where's the guy that should be arrested that he was swapping stuff back and forth with that I just showed you guys that had a 3-year-old on it? Where's that person? The stuff is crazy. And it is so upsetting. And I think that, another reason why I watched went to an event, and it had his name was Scott Bond, Dr. Scott Bond, and he was doing a thing on psychology of serial killers. And during our discussion, I know you'll all be shocked by this, but it was predominantly females in the audience. And it was really talking about what's the fascination with, serial killers was one of the questions that he was addressing and stuff from that. And I thought I would share this with you guys. So, one, it was because of empathy that women have, right? A lot of empathy. Not that men don't, they do. Obviously, if they don't, then they would be on that list of serial killers. But the level of empathy that women are trying to understand it, but this is how he presented it. And that, one, women want to know the information so we don't date the serial killer, right? That's number one. Nobody wants to date the serial killer. They want to clearly know the signs of the psychopath versus sociopath, which neither can be cured, right? And so now you've got also that you don't want to give birth to the next serial killer. So there's kind of two things that women are trying to not have happen. They don't want to date or marry the serial killer, and they don't want to give birth to the next serial killer. And I thought it was pretty interesting and funny because You know, Kelt, they didn't drop any charges whatsoever. We were talking about that he claims that Keegan Klein is claiming that he did not see some of the information that was being used from an interview that he did as part of the evidence, which was saying other people and connections that they had with Keegan Klein, Anthony Schott's profile. And so his attorney goes in, speaks to the judge. It's delayed and delayed and delayed, and they're trying to find out. So then the attorney, who says he's surprised that Keegan says this, right? That they want a continuance. The prosecutors are pissed, and they didn't want a continuance. They came out and spoke out afterwards that they don't want the continuance. And so now we are June 1st, where they will gather again to basically see the status, because now it's also being shared that he may want to withdraw his guilty plea. And we knew from the last trial, remember, and it's still the same argument, they also are arguing whether it's going to be concurrent or consecutive time. We know the maximum amount of sentence. I think I said this earlier, but I may have not on this show. The maximum amount of time he can receive is 145 years. And, that's, he doesn't, maybe he's just realizing, wow, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail for this. And my theory is also that, maybe when he's looking at some of the evidence, and he's either saying, maybe because his dad's not talking to him since then, since he got called up on the list as a witness. So maybe he's like, oh, I don't, I need to check if that can be removed, that I said my dad had, was the only other person that had contact to the Anthony Schatts or my devices. Or is he like looking at the charges and seeing some information and like, well, I wasn't looking at that, my dad was. And so, all right, Jinx wants me to pay attention. Right, his sentence is delayed till July 27th, but June 1st is when they're going to go and check the status. Yeah, I showed that on that slide I did, the last slide I showed. Let me pull this up again here. Showed that on two things. One is on the last page of the here. June 1st, 2023 was the status trial. July 27th, 2023 would then be the sentencing. The reason that's going to be in there is they're going to check what's happening, right? Is he going to keep the guilty plea, or is he now going to go to trial? And then we're going to have that. And then also showed it right here. I don't know if you guys can see that well or not, but let me, I'll do it from this slide to just make it a little bigger. This is from the actual My Case in Indiana. So, and yes. So, Honeybee, the Richard Allen, I can answer that for you. The Richard Allen stuff in my case shows that there's a restraining order and and you know what? I can pull that up to show everybody here. Let me show you what it looks like. If you haven't done this, and you guys, I think you can see me doing this, maybe. You can go to mycaseindiana.gov. I don't know why I pulled it up that way. You go to name. So I can tell you a little bit about what this is about. A little bit. Obviously, there is a gag order. And so because of the gag order, we can't know specifically why. So here's Richard Allen, Miami Superior Court, felony 6, pending. We want this one. Here you can see these are other crap he had. But so basically the defense is doing those charges against them because they want the prosecutor to stop contacting immediately someone. Now, because it's gagged, we can't know why, right? We can't know, who it is. Sorry, here it is. Carroll County is what you click on, and then you can go all the way down. I don't know why they put the latest in here. Okay, so here it is. Okay. So can you guys see this, hopefully? I hope you can. I'm doing this, and then I don't even know if you guys can. So they're asking for the restraining. Here it is. May 17th. This is a restraining order and preliminary injunction. Now, what that means, and then you've got June 15th here for this hearing. What this means is that they are trying to ask that the prosecutor is refrained from doing something. They're trying to stop it. That's what that means. So the restraining order is to stop and keep them away from communicating. Remember, the only things that we know recently that they were trying to get information from the prosecutor's standpoint was they were subpoenaing CVS, his employer, and they were having a subpoena for the jailmate that was with him. So these two, and I can tell you this for certain because an attorney told me this, and this is what these mean, except for the fact that we don't know what it's for, right? Because it's a gag order, we don't know what it's for, but that is who it's to. It's basically to stop the prosecutor from doing something. So there's something that they don't want them to have, so that, they could be sitting here, and maybe there's something with CVS. They don't want CVS to report, did people think that he was weird or act inappropriately near somebody, right? Or was there something, said from an information that they would gain from the jail? So, that's the reason that the Richard Allen's, those are in there by the defense team, but we don't know which one they're trying to restrict because it is a gag order. So hopefully that helps, Honeybee. Does that answer your question? I really appreciate all of you being here. I'm glad you got to come and listen to me rant how ticked off I am. about this whole Keegan Klein, about the whole CSAM, about this whole delay, about all of this crap, about why there's not other charges for the stuff that he had on him in 2019 and 2020. And if you would like to come up on panel to share your thoughts, please do so, or you can ask your questions and stuff here too. You can come up on panel to ask your questions, or you can type them in there if you want. You know, the reason that it was gagged, Honeybee, is because the prosecutor wanted it gagged, honestly, because the defense team, immediately when they came on board for Richard Allen, they were right there in front of everybody, right? They were, you know, out in front saying the information that was there, that was the reason that he got arrested initially, was not enough information, blah, 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 blah. So they're out there already speaking to everything. And they wanted a gag order because, you know, we all know from watching true crime, very famous attorneys who will go out there and they are trying to preach the trial out to the general public, period. And they're trying to let everybody know about it and keep everybody of, well, this doesn't mean anything. This, and so trying to already create a bias and a doubt to everything and anything that's in there. And so, right, Honeybee, put it out in the public. They want it, you know, they're going to go out there and go, oh, this isn't right. That's a crap, which who you're not going to have do that. The prosecutor doesn't go do that. You know, all the prosecutors you normally hear in cases are going to go, you know, we feel we have enough evidence. We feel we have the right guy. They're not going out there and saying everything in the world, right? Although I would argue the fact that the information did come out to us to see how bad Richard Allen looked in jail. Does anybody think that was kind of a violation of the gag order? I mean, I'm not saying, trust me, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. You know, he got moved. Obviously, he's not convicted yet. He got moved, you know, or was requesting to get moved out of the prison into a jail, like, you know, people do. Although I will tell you, the reason that he got put in the prison in the first place was because the county jail said they could not protect him, and they wanted to be able to protect him from harm. And that they were sitting here and they think that, you know, while they're out here, and we're talking very clearly, you could hear that people were threatening his life. They were threatening to hurt him. They were threatening him. Think about that. He's going to sit in jail in the county where he lived, where his family lived, and where they believe that he killed 2 girls. And if you have somebody in jail like that, and they can't provide enough protection or the individual protection that you need, then they have to worry about him being, you know, obviously at worst case scenario, killed while he's in prison. I'm not surprised, Jinx. You know, everybody's gonna, everybody, I think, eventually has some level of bias, especially, I mean, come on now, on YouTube, I think everybody does. When you go watch different shows of the YouTube channels, I mean, I know when I go watch different ones that when you watch them for a while, you know how they feel about certain things or certain suspects or what's going on. And you kind of realize that. I mean, I have clearly said in the form of the bias that I know that I have, because I'm very passionate about the CSAM material, that happens now, the huge amount of arrests that have happened in CSAM throughout the state of Indiana and surrounding outside of the state of Indiana that involved Indiana people, which that's why I cover people other than Indiana in the CSAM videos that I've done. There has been the first video I did of the first arrest that happened right after Keegan were 53. Now, not all of them were connected to that because I'm gathering all of those. I'm tracking all of those, and all of the ones that I've tracked and keep tracking, I'm also looking and connecting for those who were the worst of the worst, who had the drop boxes, who had dark web links, who had a community, who had a certain amount of images, because those are the worst of the worst, right? And those can have in common that they're sharing with everybody. And that also evolves into sex trafficking, and people don't even realize that. That's why, I mean, tell me how many of you guys have seen on TV where all of a sudden you hear about a teenager, whether boy or girl, that is missing around the ages of 13 and 14 years old. And all of a sudden, I mean, we've had it here. All of a sudden, they find the kid, and the kid is with a grown man. We've had one from Tell City who the boy was found in Kokomo, Indiana, with a man that was out there. We had a young girl who, they wanted to call her a runaway who was part of southern Indiana. They found her up in northern Indiana, and he had her hid inside a shed, which it was in common with the other case that I'm sure you guys heard. I think it was, God, I don't want to say the wrong states, but there was one that it was outrageously farther. So there is a lot of links in there, and a lot of these guys will sit here, and what they do is some of them are luring not the girls just to get away with now to just, or boys to get away with them for, to sexually assault them, but they look at taking them. They're keeping them, and they got the kids out of the house. Your kid didn't get picked up riding a bicycle anymore. It's not the paper boy getting picked up. It's not the girl riding on her bicycle. They now lure your kids out of your house by starting with communications and getting them out to go meet them. So they walk over to them. They go meet them somewhere. They go get in their car. And then that's when it's too late and they realize that it's a grown man. And now it's too late. That's like when they turn around and they try to say that these kids who are missing, and then they turn around and go, oh, well, they're runaways. You can't sit here and say that they're runaways. I mean, if you think about it, with Abby and Libby, the search was called off at midnight because they were like, oh, I don't think they're in imminent danger, says Lesenby. Really? If it was your kid, do you want them to call off the search at midnight, guys? I don't give a shit how dark it is outside. Would not give a shit. But these type of crimes are way more common than you think. And they are on the rise. And it's very easy. And I'm going to tell you, the scariest thing is the ages for these people are getting younger and younger that are getting arrested. It's not, the old man pervert, this person, this person. You're seeing people, they're in their 20s. You got 20s, 30s, 40s. I mean, we had one that was arrested who was 18. Victimized 200 kids. This stuff is crazy. And I want to try to help inform you guys and anybody who will listen in how to watch this and protect this. Kids want a phone because everybody else has a phone. And I would say as late as you can wait to give them a cell phone, do so. They don't have to have a phone. And you can put whatever blocks here and block there on their phone. And you can say, I'm going to, watch everything in there, and they have stuff to hide this and hide that, and you can look at other stuff. But these guys are using apps that they know young kids use, and then they persuade them off, and they're pretending they're kids too. And why do your kids think it's safe? Because, oh, wait a minute, just like Libby and them, Anthony Schatz was friends with other friends of theirs. It's okay. Your friend is friends with him too. They must know him. He must be okay. It makes me sick. And I'm going to tell you that after this happens to some of the girls, or, to girls, they sit here and they're scared to tell parents. They're embarrassed. They think they're going to get in trouble. They think it's their fault. It's not. You have to be able to talk to your kids and let them know if something happens or somebody communicates to you, let them know ahead of time. You should never sit here and send images and stuff to anybody, no one whatsoever. But you also have to make them feel comfortable that if some reason they turned around and that happened, that they would need to come to you, or if they know a friend that happened to you or happened to. Or if something comes over and they see it, that they should come and tell you if somebody tries to share with them some type of image like that. Because they can get their friend to send the image, and then guess what happens? Then they turn around and go, oh, well, Tina, you don't want to send an image to me. That's okay, because Linda did, and he sends it to her and shows, well, Linda sent me this. Your friend Linda sent me this. Don't you care about me? Don't you like me too? I'm sending you gifts. I'm sending you money. Oh, you need this, or you want to go to this and you don't have that. I'll send that to you. And they will take their time to groom them. And I'm going to tell you the sickest ones that I read about from that doctor I was telling you about. I'll tell you the worst ones are the people who are out there, and because there's a group who are sadistic, and it hurts me to even tell you guys, but I want to tell you, is that they sit here and then they turn around, and because they want to be more sadistic, they will, like, for example, encourage the kids to self-harm. And they want them to videotape that they self-harm themselves. And if you're not familiar with that, there are teenage kids who will cut themselves and start cutting. Now, there's lots of reasons that kids can start doing that. That may not involve CSAM, but some of these people sit here and they want to have stuff that they are doing self-harm from. So thank you, Honeybee, for coming on. And please go check out Honeybee. And she's covering stuff for the Flora 4 as well, a video we heard of. So thank you very much for being here, Honeybee. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys sitting here and, being here to share in the frustration of Keegan Klein's case and the delay of the 6 years, and sharing in my theory of a couple of things that could be happening in what may go on. One thing that frustrates me is I really believe that once this was nipped in the bud for this piece, that if there was anything else that was going to happen or come out with Keegan Klein, that we would learn about that, because this piece would be done. And with it not being completed and not being done is just so frustrating for me, because, waiting this damn long. You got to remember, he was arrested in 2020. No, they don't tell us that, right? It's not discovered till 2021, between information that suddenly it's all out there, and everybody gets the info of, the Indiana State Police in the middle of the night going, well, we've connected this, we're looking for somebody who's connected to the Anthony Shots profile. If you've communicated with Anthony Shots, please come forward and let us know. Middle of the night, right? Everybody's like, well, how the hell? Why did that come out in the middle of the night? Why did that come out? Well, guess what? So then we have, the next morning, we're like, oh, well, we've arrested somebody who is connected to the Anthony Shots profile. His name's Keegan Klein. And then you go and look at when he actually was arrested and find out that he's been arrested in jail for more than a year. And we didn't even hear about that? You've got to be kidding me. It's crazy. Again, these charges, I'll say it again, I do not think these will be the only charges that he will face. He can still face federal charges. That is not double jeopardy for federal charges. Federal charges have a total different area that they can charge for. All of those charges that he is facing are from girls in Indiana. And remember, I just showed you a little bit ago of who those, where those girls were from. And I'm going to argue the fact. Why does he want to make sure that he sits here and he has girls that are the CSAM images are from Indiana? Why does he want that? Because he's trying to meet with them? Because he's trying to catfish them? Sorry, I'm going to try to go backwards on some of my stuff, and I'm trying to look exactly where I have that particular slide. You've got, I might as well go from the beginning. That's probably the best thing. Oh, by the way, if you weren't here, this is what he looks like now. Like a frickin' Oompa Loompa. It just kills me. Ugh, I'm just disgusted. Let me go through. We talked about the witness list. These are the charges, right? Showed you about he doesn't, the charges with him, there it is. But with somebody from that's communicating back and forth and transferring information back and forth to somebody with a 3-year-old. Where is that person? Where's that connected person who's sharing the images? When did that person go to jail? Goodbye, Miss Jinx. Thank you for being here. So these are the communities where the CSAM charges that Keegan Klein is facing are from in Indiana. Most of these are very, very close by. Indianapolis is not that far a drive. Hammond, a little bit farther of a drive, maybe about 2 hours, but that's where you're going near Chicago. And he also has family. Yeah. French, how is he that fat? I thought you can. How do you get fat in prison? Right? I don't understand it. How does that happen? I mean, even if you say, okay, because you have inactivity, well, I don't think he was doing much activity while he was here. Out of jail. It's crazy. And I'll say it again. These girls do not have their images out there on the dark web. They don't ever have the justice back for that. And I will say, if you know of someone who has, or your kid knows of someone who has tried to share an image that's inappropriate, that you believe is underage, if a child has had an image that they shared out there, you go to NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. There is a cyber tip that you can fill out or call. They have resources for the victims of CSAM. They also try to help in the possibility of getting whatever they can off of the web for whatever they can, if it's out there in a public web, versus obviously you can't take it from somebody's collection that they have. Yeah, French, I think he must be doing a lot of laundry out there, trying to work a lot of stuff to get a lot of candy bars out of there. I'm just saying. This is all the stuff we went through and we're talking about, where all these witnesses came from. And, and he's acting shocked. His own attorney is shocked that he is saying he hasn't. Do you know why I think they're going to allow this to happen? I think they're going to allow this to happen because you're going to have an appeal right? You're going to have an ability to appeal. Because if they sit here and you go, I didn't know about this evidence, my attorney didn't tell me about this evidence, whatever, and then he's going to have a right to appeal. Yeah, French, maybe if Keegan gets sent to the same prison that Richard Allen was, he could be on that same diet plan, right? It's just horrific. It's a horrific thing that's going on. It's horrible that this is delayed again, especially for the victims to see this is delayed again, that it's been 6 years. If you want to see a video I do on this, I cover all of the just specifics of the dangers of social media. I have a video that is just about the Yellow app that did not come out till 2022. I do now believe that maybe the reason we know about that is because of the phone that they got from Keegan Klein when they arrested him in 2020, that still had a Dropbox on it and still had images, because he's an idiot. He's not facing charges for it, but he's an idiot. And, I don't understand the world anymore, everybody. Because the United States is horrific, and the number one in CSAM images that are going on, and child trafficking. And I'm going to tell you, the one thing that we need to do, and as justice warriors, I would hope you would help, is we need to get our laws changed. We need to get our laws changed that, it's supposed to be that the federal law covers, up until you're sitting here looking at the age of 14. So, about communication and, what can be sent, what can't be sent, all that kind of stuff. Now, when they get charged with CSAM, you can see the right ages. When you look at laws for social media and applications, then you know why. We have an app that, like Yellow app, like Yubu, can be created and then promoted in our country, but not follow our country's laws about what's going on. And it's an app made for young kids. It's, this horrific, unbelievable opportunity for that's promoting for them to meet up with strangers. It's Tender for Teens. It's what it's called. Its nickname is Tender for Teens. And they can swipe to follow your kids on that app, and it automatically connected to Instagram and Snapchat. And I think that is how these girls are located, and why that Keegan Klein could specifically, with an Anthony Schatz profile, know how close these girls were by him. Because then you turn in these girls into not just sending you CSAM images, but an opportunity to try to meet up with them, or to be a peeping Tom at them, or to be stalking them, or God help us, whatever else, right? Whatever else could be involved. Sexually assaulting them, kidnapping them, sex trafficking them. And I don't say that making that up in my head. I say that because a lot of CSAM cases have that type of level of involvement. And so we need to change the laws for social media in our country on a federal level. The first thing you can do is also change it on your own state level. I encourage you to go check what your state laws are regarding apps and ages of children in social media. You'll be shocked. I'm sure a lot of you will be shocked, because some of the states are not even as strict as the federal, and the federal doesn't do anything about that. The other thing should be about serving time for your acts of CSAM. And which case I'm going to bring up about this? I'm going to bring up the case about Oklahoma, where the sex offender from the sleepover murders 2 girls who are missing, from the sleepover, murders himself, his kid, his wife, everybody in there. And then they leave. And what did they do? They didn't take the devices with them. The girls' own devices were sitting inside a cabinet, and the father had to find them. And a person who came to pick up this stuff said to him, "What does it matter?" And it's like, what do you mean, what does it matter? It matters because he wants to know what happened and why it happened, and he wants to prevent it from happening. And part of that has to deal with that you have some of the states, find out what your state law is about somebody who is sharing, producing CSAM, which is more of your statistics people are the ones who are actually producing it, as well as people who have committed sexual assault, right, are not serving full time. And their time that they're given is very little. And then they're not even serving all of their full time. And then they're given probation. And I can't tell you how many of these CSAM, well, I can just watch the CSAM videos that I've covered so far, and will continue to cover to show you these guys and where they're connected in different states. And the operation that was just done, I'll show you the latest operation that was done. This is what's going to blow your mind. They arrested a person in every state in the United States for the last CSAM gathering. And it blows your mind. Every state. And those are the things as justice warriors that we need to take care of and we need to do. We need to protect our kids. We need to protect our, protect your grandkids, your kids, your sisters, your nieces, everybody, by making sure that the laws are strict, that the laws are protecting them, that a person in another state can't create an app that is used across countries to gather and solicit CSAM material and can promote it in our state. Remember, that yellow app doesn't make money because from advertisement, they don't sell any advertisement. They tell you that. I cover that all for you in how they describe their company. It's from you getting permissions by purchasing it. And when you get those permissions, you can send out more of your own profile. So if you're profiling yourself as a kid, you send them out for that more kids will like your profile and that you can see more kids and see other people's profiles and do more permissions of watching videos and things like that. That's how they make their money. They don't make it off of selling advertisements. Isn't that interesting? Why? Then they're new when they changed their name from Yellow to Yubu. They did that because of the bad reputation that they got. and then they turn around and, nothing changed from it. They were just trying to, create it. Now, this is not the only app that is being used, but this is an app that got traced to DELPHI and Anthony Shantz, 2022, April. All of a sudden it's brought up and then never brought up again. And that's why I cover it. So I do appreciate everyone who's here. Thank you for letting me rant about my disgust with these people. And please click on the subscribe button to find out more information about the CSAM cases. I also have a actual victim of CSAM who is a grown woman who did not find out she was a victim of CSAM until she was older. And it's a sad story as well. And I bring those so that we can all work together and be here together and learn about this and discuss about it and make a difference. So I appreciate all of you, and make sure to subscribe. We are going to do a drawing for when we hit 750 in subscription. So again, we will see you again soon. Not super soon, though. We've done enough videos this week, but we do have a lot coming up. So thank you guys, and thank you for making sure that justice is served daily. Bye.